Horus, Prince of the Sun is a great movie. See it. First chance you get, see it. Alright, so now that I've gotten that out of the way, so I guess I'll talk about the plot. So the movie is about this young boy barbarian character. He's this tough little warrior kid. Let's see, the movie starts with him fighting off a bunch of wolves, and then along the way, he wakes up this rock colossus thing, and he pulls a sword out of its back or shoulder or something, and it turns out to be this really powerful sword, but he's not strong enough to use it. He has to reforge it or something, and then he finds out that his father is dying, and his father tells him to go find this village where the humans live. And he also warns him about this evil demon who divides people. Yeah, basically Donald Trump. I'm sorry, honestly I don't really like all these Trump jokes nowadays, but whatever. So yeah, he heads to the village. He meets the evil demon along the way, and when he arrives at the village, he has to. Well, there's all these things happening. There's this giant fish that's killing a bunch of warriors, including this kid's father. So yeah, he manages to kill the fish. And then he meets this girl who's this, she has a harp, and she has this beautiful singing voice. And it turns out she's the sister of the villain. And, basically the villain is using her to divide the people, and there's honestly it gets a little complicated, but yeah, along the way, Horus helps the girl overcome her the girl's name is Hilda, I gotta point that out. So yeah, Horus helps Hilda overcome her inner demon, no pun intended. And yeah, he manages to defeat the bad guy, and yeah, all is well. Kind of a simple, or that's just kind of the abridged version of the story. But it does get a little overly complicated, and it gets a little slow, so yeah, those are probably the two main things against this movie, but there's also a bit of a rush production that kind of leads to, there's some sequences that are a bunch of freeze frames, mainly when it shows the villagers fighting off the enemies. But aside from that, the animation for the most part is really good, really ahead of its time for anime standards. Honestly, this movie feels it doesn't feel like a 60s movie. It actually feels 20 years ahead of its time. And yeah, there's some excellent character development. there's like all these complex, character motivations and stuff, and yeah, like even the smaller characters. Um, but yeah, the most complex and interesting character by far is Hilda. She's, yeah, it's pretty much all about her. She's the character that like makes this movie. Um, and yeah, she's just easily one of the most complex characters we've come across so far in any of these animated movies. Um, Easily the most complex Toei character. Um, and yeah, probably the most interesting female character in any animated movie I've seen so far that isn't a villain. Well, I guess there's also like Flora, Fauna, and Merryweather and Sleeping Beauty, but honestly, I kind of have trouble finding like all the words that I need to like praise this movie. It's just unlike anything I've watched so far for this series. Um, and I just think it's just really, really good, and you should definitely check it out. Um, I mean, do I have to say much else? Well, it is worth noting, Hayao Miyazaki animated this movie. It's like, yeah, it's pretty much his official debut. I mean, he like worked on a couple Toei movies before, but yeah, I think this is the first one where he was like the animator. Obviously, some people helped out, but yeah, it's mostly about him. And I guess there's another person I gotta point out, someone else I gotta praise here. Isao Takahata. Apparently, he's a very notable anime director who was heavily involved in a lot of the Studio Ghibli films. And yeah, and yeah, I think he's got just as much to thank for. Yeah, he deserves just as much credit as Miyazaki does, I think. And yeah, this movie is just really ahead of its time, I think. And I don't know, I really don't have much else to say except that this is just a really good movie, and yeah, again, I can only recommend you see it so many times, because yeah, I really do recommend you see it if you haven't already. So yeah, it's I think I might give this movie a 9 out of 10. Some flaws might hold it back a bit, to the point that I might consider bringing it back to an 8, but honestly, this probably deserves a 9. It's just like, for instance, I gave Snow Queen a 9, and this movie seems to do pretty much everything that Snow Queen did well, but even better. Yeah, I'd say this is probably one of my absolute favorite animated movies that I've covered so far. Not sure where it places, but yeah, I mean, there are only a couple movies I've given a 9, let alone a 10. Fantasia's the only 10 movies so far, but yeah. But yeah, this is just, I love this. I love it. It's just a really good movie. See it, definitely check it out. So, yeah, if there's anything else I need to talk about, I'll put it in the comments, because there is a lot I need to, or there's a lot to praise about this movie, at least for the time it was made. Because I know anime movies are bound to only get better for the most part. So yeah, I guess I'll just leave it at that for now, and yeah, I'll just go ahead and say it one more time. See this movie if you haven't already. So yeah, mash it and smash it. Signing off.